all my work stuff for adverse climate conditions. My water bottles and my Yeti stuff, or my generic Yeti stuff. Not really.
Yeah, don't pay the extra money for the Yeti brand. They're not really worth it.
No, I just buy them.
Alright, we are live.
All right, and yes, we're recording. If this still works, I had to unhook everything. From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Green Pack.
Chair capacity.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it, whether we're young or old?
Here comes the candles to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Green Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
It's Conlon.
Andrew?
Let's see, this is the Sunday afternoon podcast. It's a bright, sunny, beautiful day here in Michigan. 96 degrees. Oh, sorry, just went down. It's 9. Cold, actually frozen at the bottom. So,
Wait, how's that work?
oh, they had a thing out on Memorial Day saying don't get in the Great Lakes, you'll get hypothermia, because they freeze solid some years.
Yeah.
Pretty close to it, and it'll be like the tropics. Concrete starts to sweat on the walls. That's how you know you're in trouble. It's like, is it raining outside? Oh no, that's water condensating on painted concrete just flowing down the walls. Come on, guys, we gotta make trucks. Get to work, you lazy fucks. It's like, yeah, it's gonna be fun, but I don't know what tomorrow's gonna be like. Usually everything breaks down much past 90, so we'll see what happens. Then we're gonna have wild fucking storms all week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting at my work because our air conditioning's still down even after $16,000 worth of Freon being pumped into it and a bunch of other stuff.
That's a lot of Freon.
Well, because it all evaporated when they let it break down last fall, so it just all went out. So.
Oh, that's good for the environment.
Just pump that out there.
Everyone breathe deep. Here comes the Freon.
But, you know, they didn't go with the $500,000 to fix it. They were going with the $20,000 at a time to try and fix it. Because now it used to...
So they're going to spend $1 million when they could have spent $500,000.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, but they didn't spend $1 million at once, so it's a win somehow.
Because I'm guessing probably like 50 to 60 grand for a part and a bunch of maintenance on pipes to get them not to leak, and that didn't work. $16,000 of Freon and probably another $5 grand worth of labor to pump $16,000 of Freon in there, and then now apparently a circuit board that they're gonna have to get redone, but the manufacturer doesn't exist anymore, so they're trying to do that.
Love that, the old circuit board, the manufacturer that doesn't exist anymore. They haven't made that since the 70s.
I'm sure there's some Chinese knockoffs you can get. Just buy 3 of them, so in case the other two break
it
down.
only sucks because we have a test line where we put all our machines that we're about to send out that are millions of dollars a piece, and that's the hottest place in the plant because all those machines are running full bore trying to work out the kinks, and usually they'll break down at about 90 as well. So it'll be interesting because I'm sure that'll really fuck them up with their contract with Coke because they need to get those machines out this month, otherwise they will nix their contract for like $45 billion.
Yep. So it's about the same temperature there, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, one of the receiving guys, the older guy, just retired last week. The other guy's out because his toe is fucked up. So there's one guy that's never worked there before, and he's manning the fort. But he leaves the dock doors open all day. Doesn't matter if it's nice out, really shitty out, like 95-degree weather just blows in the doors all day. So you have a bunch of fans going and people trying to keep cool, and they leave everything's connected. So the warehouse and the office is connected. The offices leave their doors open. So the air conditioning, which works, it's separate, pumps into our end of the building to help alleviate things. But it all just goes out the door because the guys can't be bothered to shut the dock doors.
And by shutting the dock door, does this entailing like men climbing ropes on a ship and having to lower it?
No,
Press
pressing a button.
Always the hardest to do. Just press a fucking button. I love that.
They have a garage door remote that's right next to their workstation that sits by them all the time, or they can go up to the little pole that's right by the workstation and press A and B down, and that's all they have to do. But
Yeah,
whatever.
too busy. Got to drink coffee and look busy. So you guys went to the main event last night.
Well,
The
I'm not sure if you call it the main event.
the pre-main event.
Just whatever it is, the wrestling event.
Yeah, we went to NXT TakeOver Chicago 2.
And how was that?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
How long did it take you to get there?
3.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
So should we go over the negatives first?
However you want to do it. You guys were there.
Yeah. Yeah, the seats I got end up sucking, but oh well. No, it's because we're on the floor, so there's no risers. We're all flat.
Oh, really?
So if you have somebody tall in front of you, or immediately, like when anything interesting happens, everybody stands up and you can't see shit.
Oh, yeah.
and the monitor that's supposed to be filming everybody so you can see stuff if you can't see the ring, that wasn't working sometimes because they didn't turn it on.
Yeah.
So
it was for a couple matches. We had to chant "fix the screen."
Did it work though? Did
Yes.
Yeah.
they fixed the screen.
No,
We were sitting like across from the entrance, so it's like the wrestlers would be like walking towards us during their entrance stuff, but we couldn't see it, and because like all the monitors were being used for like their entrance music and show off stuff, like there was no camera like in the stadium that was like pointing at them. Like if you watch the show, you'll see their entrance and them and all that stuff, but like there, we couldn't see them doing the entrance because there's no like video feed being pumped out to us. So they just like, so it's just like you hear crowd's reactions, you never see the person, and then all of a sudden they climb in the ring. It's like, oh, there they are.
hear the music pumping, like, well, something's happening.
And we got to our seats. It's like, all right, this is pretty good. And like, other people were sitting down, and like really like it didn't really fill up till like the exact last moment. Like people got there because like I thought the show was sold out. There was like whole rows that were just empty, and then like just as the show started to start, like then like filled up. But like our row was like pretty good, and it's like, and then just at the last moment, here comes Super Fan.
He like took a 360 Instagram pic with him and his fake belt, and like, yeah, look at this, and blah. Like I was looking at his phone.
Well, no, not that Super Fan.
Oh, not that guy.
The one next to me.
Okay, the one with the Chicago flag and.
Yeah, he had signs. He had a Chicago flag.
He was the only one chanting for the beginning of the match before anything started. He kept trying to get chants going, and it didn't work.
We sat down. The chairs were kind of small, but as soon as he sits down, he takes up like 3 chairs. It's like
shit.
So I was just like basically hugging Andrew for sitting down to give this guy 2 chairs so he could sit down. Because I'm pretty sure nobody behind him could see shit because he was like
the most
6'4".
I've ever been touching my ass cheek to another man's ass cheek for hours. I gotta say, it was a nice experience. No, there's.
But I mean, he seemed to be slightly mentally disabled, like maybe.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm not sure. Like, definitely some form of autism.
Yeah.
Because but he enjoyed it, so I'm glad he enjoyed it. He's the person that should enjoy the show.
Yeah,
like
he's probably not got a lot going on outside of this.
Yeah, because he did not come with anybody. He was there by himself.
Oh, that's fucking rough.
And everybody that was by him besides Colin kind of just left and never came back. So.
Oh, did they just fucking leave?
Yeah, the one guy, he just stood out by me and Lisa most of the time or walked around. Like, he never came back to sit by him.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, but he knew everything. He knew all the chants, which is probably why he just started yelling them and nobody would catch on to them. Yeah, so his social awareness wasn't that great. When he stood, he put his elbows out like this on his sides, like just kicking out, And like, I was like, if he hits me in the head with an elbow, I am going to have to restrain this man. But luckily, he did not hit me with his elbow. It came very close.
Guys that are completely alone in a room full of people. Like he is living his own experience. It's like, yeah, there's nobody else here, right?
Yeah, but he enjoyed it. That's a good thing. So, next time I know what seats I would need to get. Because I don't want to get front row. Because so usually like when the entrance would happen, everyone would stand up, chant something, and then we sit down, and it's like, okay, we can see the match. Like the first there's 2 matches that were not televised that started before the show.
Okay.
So when we saw those, it was pretty easy to see it. And the first match was a tag team match, with some very large men, so you can just see them kill each other on stage. So that was pretty easy to see. But then, like later matches, like people are standing up, and they do that, stomp their feet to the song, do this, and chant war, unironically.
The whole crowd's doing it.
Yes. Well, not me. I was laughing my ass off, and I was like, they're chanting war.
That's funny.
One of the wrestlers that wasn't there that night stood like a foot away from us for like half a minute showing off his new shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was like before the show started. It's like, oh, there's EC3. And then and later on he did there's like a pre-show interview that they have, and he was there, and like the crowd behind him was chanting 1% because that's a part of his character. He's like a spoiled rich kid who's like the top 1% of everything. That's his thing.
Okay.
And like Lisa was like, why are they chanting 1%? Is this some Trump thing? It's like, no, but yes.
Ironically, maybe.
I was like, no, he's really good. I mean, you're supposed to hate him. That's his character.
He's the bad guy. Yeah.
He was doing a good job working up the crowd though before anybody else came out, because every time they'd be like EC3, would be like, yeah. It's like, come on. It's like more shit. But no, was that the Aleister Black was the guy stand with, or no? Who was the guy with like the belt that like came in for an interview after that? Was that the guy with the?
Oh, that was Adam Cole.
Oh, okay.
He's part of the Undisputed Era.
The guys that I don't like.
Yeah.
The Undisputed Douchebag Era. I wanted to call that tag team the Ed Hardy tag team, because that's what it seemed like it was supposed to be.
That was a really good match. That was one where like people got really excited, and it was kind of hard to see. And I rewatched it like today, and that was a really good match. It was them versus this one, bald British dude with a bunch of muscles, and I guess some American guy with a beard and bald and muscles. But it was a really good match they put together.
Yeah, it was funny. My wife, when we got home last night, she's like, "So you want to watch all the wrestling matches again now?" I'm like, "No, I want to go to bed. I don't want to watch a 3-hour wrestling match again right now." But she's like, she was really into it. She wanted to watch it again. So
yes, it was fun to see. Well, like the one match which we didn't really was kind of the weaker match. There's the women's championship match, which was one where like the screen didn't turn on until like halfway through the match. So like to us that match was like 5 minutes long, and we're like, what the fuck happened? And then it was over. And then I rewatched it. It was like a pretty decent match that we just never saw most of it.
So nobody because you said there was somebody I thought
somebody in the crowd did something, but I didn't pick up on it. I couldn't find anything on the internet. We didn't see it. We saw everybody started looking in the direction, and then there's a point in the show where people start chanting "People suck." So like somebody did something in the crowd, got thrown out, but I never knew or saw what it was. I thought they had like thrown something at one of the competitors or something.
But really, it's competitors. It's actually an actor. They threw it at one of the actors.
Oh no, what do they call them? They're superstars, but they call them what is it? Athletic entertainers, but yeah.
guy that was wearing just the shorts, was he like a former wrestler or something? Because
I think so.
People were screaming at him, and he was kind of.
I think he might even be like a current wrestler. He's just like not on the roster yet or something,
Oh.
or maybe he's like recently like retired and now he's getting. Because sometimes the WWE does that where it's like if somebody was like good to them, they're like, well, you know, if you ever wrestle again, you'll probably like die in the ring of some horrible thing, but we'll give you like a desk job to round out your career.
Because he was like
Wasn't
shaking.
it Jerry Lawler that had a heart attack on camera commentating?
Think so, yeah.
Something like that.
Dang.
That happened like 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, he's got. I think he like wrestled again at some point. He's got that fucking scar on his chest from a heart operation.
Oh, after going through first aid class, that was a dumb mistake on him to keep going. Like he should have really stopped and be like, "I need to go to the hospital, otherwise I'll probably die." Because I mean, that's why Kevin Smith talks about like the only reason he's alive is because he got attention right away and shit. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something you fuck around with. Just a heart attack, guys. Just keep going. Let's talk about the highlights.
But it's wrestling, guys. It's like, why did things end bad for wrestlers? Like they want to ignore the pain and do lots of drugs and alcohol to ignore the pain. It's not because they want to, like, oh, I'm just partying. It's like, no, they just need to numb the pain so they continue their career.
Yeah, it's sometimes that doesn't end well. Sometimes.
But yeah, you saw the wrestler, so you know what's going on.
Well, I kind of wonder, like, since NXT was the first night and then WWE's tonight and tomorrow, like, what the NXT guys, do they just, like, do more training and stuff?
Yeah, they'll
Kind
probably
of screw around, or they actually, like...
Well,
show
they'll
up?
probably hang out, watch the show, see the sights and stuff like that, and then they go back to Florida, and then WWE will continue on to wherever their next show is at. Well, actually, usually, because that's why it's 2 nights, because tonight's going to be Money in the Bank, and then Monday's a Raw. So they usually do a Raw after a pay-per-view in the same area. So there'll probably be a Raw there.
I'm assuming Monday night would probably almost be the least packed one, but I'm sure
They're all sold out.
Oh, really? Jesus.
I imagine Raw would probably be the least expensive one, because usually the pay-per-view shows are more expensive.
Because you might be on camera. Like, no.
Well, no, it's because, like, usually at the pay-per-views, like, they do more, like, kind of death-defying things. And so to sort of, like, mitigate that, it's like they charge more because they will actually pay the athletes, whatever, the wrestlers, they'll pay them more money for a pay-per-view. So actually, like, there's a whole huge roster, and so, like, not everybody wrestles every time. So it's actually, like, in your interest to, like, build your character and do that stuff so you can get on every, like, pay-per-view, because that's where your big payday is. If you do a pay-per-view, that's going to be your big payday for you. Like, if you do one match at WrestleMania, you basically make, like, anybody's average year salary just for that one match.
It's not bad.
They're based out of Florida, right?
Well, NXT is, the corporate headquarters for WWE is in Connecticut.
Oh, yeah, that's because of tax reasons.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was all really mainly based out of Florida.
No, the Vince McMahon, like, him and his dad, because his dad owned it before he bought it from his dad, they're all, like, it was all territories back then, and so they were in, like, the New York territory, like, that's the part they own for wrestling. And, but for their developmental stuff, that's, like, all in Florida. Because there was a wrestling league called FCW, like Florida Championship Wrestling, which is actually what NXT just became. It was just kind of like informally their training grounds for WWE, and then it became more of a thing where it's just like, no, that's what we do here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So what were the best things that happened there?
Well, the matches were cool.
Yeah.
I like when somebody got on the top rope and jumped off and hit somebody, because then you could actually see the wrestlers.
Yeah, if they went down to the ground, you weren't seeing much.
Yeah.
They had to stay upright or get on top of the corner post.
So yeah, we saw the Velveteen Dream Ricochet match, which started kind of bad. It was like just weird grappling, and it's like it seemed like they wanted to make it build the sexual tension between them. Like, that's what they were trying to do, because of the Velveteen Dream character, he has a fey voice and he does kind of gestures that are very fey, and I don't know if he's gay, but that seems what his character is. But
like the hook. Yeah.
Yeah, but well, he's mostly
The
well,
Death
most
Sod-
no. Well, mostly he's what if Prince was a wrestler? That's kind of his thing.
Oh, okay.
So he has that kind of aesthetic going on there. He has one of his signature moves is an elbow drop he does, and it's called the from the top rope, and it's called the Purple Rainmaker.
Okay. Oh.
And then like his other signature move is a Death Valley. What's it called? Like a Death Valley slam or whatever. Basically, he'll put the guy on his back like a fireman carry, and then he'll just kind of like do a roll and slam his back on the ground. So it's like he just like does a flip, and then the guy who's on his back hits the ground.
Okay.
It's pretty neat to watch.
Yeah.
And then Ricochet is the guy who just basically flies, just jumps and does a bunch of crazy shit. So he did one where he like there's one where he like stole his he did Velveteen Dream's move to him as kind of a like a just to show off against him, I guess. It's kind of a thing like disrespectful in a way or somewhat, but that's what they have that happen sometimes. And then he got up there again, and like Velveteen Dream like rolled like halfway across the map away or across the mat away from him, and then like he starts like and then Ricochet like starts like crawling back down from the turnbuckle, like, well, he's too far away. And then the crowd starts like cheering him on, and he's like looking at the crowd, and he crawls back up on the turnbuckle, and he like jumps like almost all the way across the mat, does a flip to try to land on him, and then the other guy puts his knees up, and that's like a counter or whatever. And then and then there was one big move where like he put him in like a they call it like a suplex. That's basically like you hold the other guy like straight up in the air, like his head's pointing down, and you hold his whole body up in the air, and you just like fall backwards on the mat. But like Ricochet was on top of the turnbuckles, Velveteen grabbed him, and then Velveteen was on the outside of the rope, and so he suplexed him all the way from the top rope to the ground outside the ring.
Damn. Sounds dangerous.
Or where he just jumps, like his signature thing, where he just jumps over the rope onto the ground and slams somebody and standing there or whatever. Like, he did a bunch of crazy.
What was this
shit.
event called again?
NXT TakeOver Chicago 2.
Okay.
So, yeah. So the NXT guys, they usually are just in Florida. Like they go, like the show they show on the WWE network is always in the same place.
Okay.
But sometimes when they do pay-per-views, the NXT guys will come out and they'll have basically like their own pay-per-view. It's not really pay-per-view because it's only on the WWE network, so it's not a pay-per-view show, but it's like a pay-per-view show.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the best they have to offer is usually at these NXT TakeOver shows. Like they kind of, because like still the regular shows, people still kind of learning stuff, doing character stuff, and kind of building to the next NXT TakeOver.
Right.
And then they just kind of put it all together here and put on a show. Because the shows are only an hour long normally, but this was like a 3-hour long show.
That's cool. So what do you think of this experience versus watching it like you do?
I mean, I mean, there's like, when you watch it, like it's entertaining for sure, but there's not really like the energy that the room gives.
Okay.
Because the crowds are fucking crazy. So there's like definitely a difference with that. Everything looks smaller in real life. The ring doesn't look as big as it is. The guys don't look as big as they are. It's like they shoot everything from a low angle to make it look bigger than it actually is.
Okay.
Something because like it doesn't like everything looks smaller in real life.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird.
It's the dick pic method. Shoot from below, make it look bigger. But no, I've had the same observation going to any sporting event. Like going to the Iowa Hawkeye game, going to the Iowa Hawkeye basketball court, going to like a baseball game where it's like, oh, it looks fucking giant on TV. It looks like fucking like miniature golf fucking like size now. So I mean, I think that's just the way everything is with wide angle lenses and then just shooting from below and all the close-ups anymore. Like if you're just zoomed in on somebody, it's kind of hard to see the perspective of what size everything is behind them and what size they are. Because I mean, look at me, like I don't think I'm like hugely fat, but every time somebody takes my picture, I look completely fat. So I mean, I don't know. It works both ways.
But you can definitely tell someone has an abs from like 20 feet away.
Oh yeah, everybody had fucking six packs. Everybody did.
Oh, except for like Lars Sullivan or whatever.
Well, yeah, like the War Raiders, like one of the guys there, obviously didn't have a six pack, but he was fucking like flying around more than the littler guy was.
He did a cartwheel, and he's a man who weighs like 350 pounds.
He like flew through the fucking middle rope and tackled somebody outside the ring. He was fucking fun to watch. I loved that match. That was fucking cool. Like he was just as athletic as Ricochet was almost.
Yeah.
Like a fucking huge man.
Well, I mean, you know, force equals mass time acceleration, so he can only do that so much before the mass part of that's gonna. But you know, whereas Ricochet doesn't weigh that much, so he can do that all day and not hurt himself.
I did like Velveteen Dream's outfit, like the Hulk Hogan reference and stuff, and I was like, well, technically, Ricochet dressed gayer than Velveteen Dream because he has like a whole like flap trench coat with like diamond studded shit all over it.
Yeah, he had like
pants.
He had kind of like this cowl that went over his back, but like the back kind of like the cowl was like separated, and it was all kind of differently leather flaps with like gold wings on it to make it look like he had wings.
Nice. I'm gonna have to start rocking that.
But the match of the night was right at the end. Even though they had they had a championship match, which was like totally fine, but it wasn't as entertaining and didn't really have the story of the main matchup, was the Chicago Street Fight.
Don't we pull out a gun or knife though? I mean,
what's that?
Like a piece of pipe or something.
Yeah, I mean, you got your chair, your steel chair. It's actually aluminum with padding on it.
Razor thin aluminum trash can and lid, and then crutches, which is probably the most deadliest of the weapons, but at the same time.
Well, that had more like implications because it kept having the story stuff where like Tommaso Ciampa would like, you know, assault Johnny from behind, and then like he'd come in with a neck brace the next week, and so he would be on crutches. So yeah, as Johnny, when they start the match, they have a clip for him walking in from backstage, and his wife stops him, and because like they built up a story that like she didn't want him to fight him in a street fight, like that's stupid. Why would you do that? You're gonna get yourself hurt.
And he's wearing a Captain America Halloween
Yeah,
costume.
he has this pretty much just Captain America suit on, but like the most recent one that kind of styled like that, and. So she comes up to him and hands him a crutch, and she goes, "Go kick his ass." So he comes out of the entrance holding the crutch and gets on the string, and then Tommaso Ciampa comes out as everyone's yelling "Fuck you, Ciampa," and he also has a crutch. And so the first thing is they clash with the crutches like they're swords, and then they just throw them aside and start tackling each other.
I liked how for some reason, like. The guy Ciampa has a knee brace on, a pretty obvious knee brace. It's like shiny and everything.
Yeah.
But like for some reason he doesn't target it until like almost the end of the match, and it's like.
Yeah, there's a really sarcastic guy behind us who would say funny things occasionally.
Oh, okay. That little audience commentary behind.
Yeah,
you?
just real dry humor. Like so, like there's a part where like Edge says like, where like he's like beating his knee with like a chair and stuff like that because he has a knee brace on. He's like, his only weakness. How did you find out?
Like, yeah, that should have been an obvious target focal points from the beginning of the match. But yeah, then the guy is like, there's these diamond steel plate like steps or whatever. And then the guy's like, oh no, not the hardest part of the steps. Or, oh no, not the hardest part of the ring. And like you just keep saying that over and over again for the rest of the match.
Or like there's one part that like I've never seen this before. It was pretty cool. So there's a part where like Tommaso like knocks out Johnny and he's just laying in the ring or whatever.